Hello everyone, this is Season Novel 992 from 992 News, and this is your latest Dundee weather warning. As you can see, there's been heavy downpour throughout today with highs of 9, but it's all about tomorrow. And if you're wondering what to bring with you, bring your umbrellas, bring your hats, bring your sawdust, because you're gonna actually need it, as rain starts at 10 and it's gonna take all the way through the day right to 11 PM, with covering up to 90% of your local areas, highs of 13, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. There's your weather update. This channel's getting worse, man. It's getting worse. Actually, getting worse, but let me get the squeaky chair shoved back in, as we're here to talk about not only the weather, the park, the opposition, and the Rangers. So strap yourselves in, it's going to be a packed little episode, ladies and gentlemen, where I'll try to address all the conversation points ahead of what is a massive game, not only for us, Dundee, the surface, but also Scottish football, as it's going to determine who's sitting tippity top of the league as we narrow in terms of the split. But before we do go ahead and do that, just a wee update, ladies and gentlemen. We have actually continued our 26-week streak of 1,000 likes a video. The previous video, 2 videos ago, sorry, that wasn't over 1,000 has now hit it. So massive thank you to everyone who's recently helping the channel, subscribe to the channel, and all the long-term viewers has helped build the foundations that we all see today. And if you do find yourself enjoying the channel at any time, please consider hitting that like button and keeping this ridiculous streak on, especially for a channel our size. But we're here to talk about the football, we're here to talk about the weather, we're here to talk about the park, and if that's not the most SPFL thing there is to say, I don't know what is. As we start off by looking at the opposition, unfortunately we can't start off by just talking about on the park. We actually need to talk about the park and the weather, and that's why we had that daft little intro, because there is a massive question mark ahead of the game. I mean, this game's already been postponed, people. Dundee's already postponed 4 other games this season, you know. I mean, this is a rescheduled game that I can't look you directly in the eyes right now and guarantee that tomorrow's game will actually be happening. And all jokes and fun and all that aside, it's really, really embarrassing, especially you could pick up a staying and day this and throw it to another park right next to Dens Park, and that park's been perfectly playable. It's been absolutely shambolic, but there is a genuine worry regarding tomorrow. But in terms of, do I think the game is going to go on? Truthfully, yes, and that's not because it's maybe going to be deemed playable. Now, they've came out today and they've gave the latest update saying it's as playable as it can be. End quote. Let's just end it right there. Playable as it can be. They're not really filling me with the actual confidence. Obviously, it's been heavy rainfall since the weekend. It was a disgrace versus Motherwell. It's even worse now. Now, they did borrow some covers from Celtic. Anyway, regarding that, they're putting them into the trouble areas, they're covering the problem areas, they're trying their best, and I get it from a human perspective. I imagine they will be trying their best, but I'm not getting filled with that confidence, you know what I mean? Because if you look at their last game for Motherwell, which was simply a disgrace, by the way, and I think if it was to be on the tail, and I think it was a bigger profile game, no disrespect to both fan base around for that, that game wouldn't have went on, ladies and gentlemen, but it did because of the circumstances that it was. But that game there was their first game at home since the 13th of March, and they had all that time to get the park ready, and it just wasn't in a great state, you know what I mean? Dundee can pretend that it's perfectly playable, but they were asking Motherwell if they want to play a behind the doors friendly at Airdrie. So if it's perfectly playable, why are they suggesting that? Why are they suggesting to Motherwell chief officer, whatever he's called, if you want to play at the Mora or the next day? Let's just stop fooling ourselves with the crap that it was perfectly playable. We all know it wasn't, ladies and gentlemen. It was just forced upon it, and I feel like that's going to lead us in to tomorrow, because if you look at me right in the eyes and ask me if this game will go ahead, I truly think so, for a couple of reasons. One, the split is coming up. Obviously, we've got one more game versus Ross County, away to Ross County actually before the split, and they've got Aberdeen, I actually believe, so there is one more game left. But in terms of the split, it's coming fast, and we know what that how important that actually is, so I don't think they can afford to postpone it and move everything along. And second, and the most important reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I think this game will go on is because the game has been shown on Sky, and Sky was absolutely miffed and really went after and asked some serious questions to the guy clearing 400k and all the money men that's picking up wages and everything in terms of the SPFL, asking how this is possible. How is there a fourth game being called off at the same park? And they just were miffed about it. They're paying for this, they're wanting to see the service, and we all know that money talks these days, so I think by hook or by crook this game will go on. So if you are travelling up to the game, or if you are coming from a distance, I think they will force it on, but I can't promise you, ladies and gentlemen, because it is in such a mad state. The weather's got worse, it got cut up. It was worse after the Motherwell game. It shouldn't be played on, but I think it will be. Aye, but again, can't promise you. But whether or not both goal moves are like two dunes and I'm expecting Zendaya to come up and say 3 words during the actual game is irrelevant. If the game goes on, the pitch is there for both teams and there's no excuse for Rangers not to come ahead and get this despite the madness that win. They've still got the quality to overcome any challenge, and I imagine tomorrow will be a challenge, not only with Dundee, who we're now able to speak about in terms of football and but the surface as well. But there's zero excuse there. Roll the sleeves up, get dirty, put on your wellies and go to work. Everyone else needs to, ladies and gentlemen. And let's talk about this Dundee side then, shall we? Because it is a real shame, you know, because we've spent a large part of today's video talking about the weather, talking about the pitch, not really talking about the team. And I've got to be honest, they've been very impressive this season. I think if you look from a football perspective, the philosophy, I mean, they came up for the championship last year. They sacked their championship winning manager, who won championship manager of the year 10 minutes after winning the award. They're coming up from the lower division, so you're thinking to yourself, there's a lot of reasons why this team should struggle and fail. But now, right now, as we're currently recording today's video, they're sitting 6th in the old SPFL. That is a tremendous achievement to the way they go about their business. Not only the couple of their talented players that they've got in their 11, but I think their philosophy is why they've been so successful. Because most teams, when they come up, part the boss, try hang of this, try grind out results. First time back in the top flight, let's just get our feet a little bit wet. That's not been the Dundee strategy at all. It's been live and die by the sword in terms of going forward and trying to score goals. You know what I mean? They've had some good games, some horrendous games, but their philosophy stays the same. This is a team that tries to get the ball forward. And again, it all goes back to their philosophy and playstyle. As they've got goals in them, they try to play goals. They concede a lot of goals, but they try and go forward as well, and that's why they've got the success that they've had. They beat the likes of Aberdeen recently. They were a whisker away from beating the very impressive Kilmarnock this season. It took Kilmarnock late in, I think it was a 91st minute goal by Lewis Mayo, former Rangers player in fact, to actually peg them back. They've been in games, they live and die by the sword, going forward, and we spoke positively about some of their good wins over their last couple games. Even St Johnstone, that was a good game for them as well. But then let's look at the other side. As they do go forward, they leave a lot of gaps, and again, when the lady luck strikes against them, they have picked up some bad results this season as well. Their most recent one being that 3-2 game that we talked versus Motherwell. Dundee were 2-0 up and cruising and ended up falling away and losing the game 3-2 to a goal that I think bounces off the surface and doesn't come up enough that it goes underneath the goalie, and that there could be an issue, and that there is quite funny. As they say, it's perfectly playable and the ball bounces. They got beat by a ball skidding instead of actually bouncing, as you can see on your screen right there. But that was another late goal, and that's what seeped into their game, and they're part of the philosophy on the other side of that, as well as they concede so many late goals. Not only the Kilmarnock one, we've talked about, about the Motherwell one, we've just talked about, but even the Hibs game they lost 2-1 to as well. It's another late goal. That follows them everywhere, nearly in every single game. Either they're scoring late or the opposition scoring late. There's very little in between. And obviously their only game that we've not really mentioned over the last 5 was the 7-1 loss to Celtic, which was absolutely barking. But again, it was just one of those days. It clicked for Celtic, it didn't for Dundee, and they got slapped up and down Parkhead. They've not been the only team to get beat badly at Parkhead, and they won't be the only one. And I think it's fair to say right now, if we're just sitting here having a conversation, Dundee has struggled versus the Old Firm. Their worst results and their worst performances this season has came against the Old Firm. But looking at them, the budget, coming up for the championship, who we are, who Celtic are, it's not the way it should be. I truly think when they get on the actual part, they deserve a lot of credit this season. It's just unfortunate a lot of their on-the-part success has been overshadowed with stuff and poor and cheap this and cheap that regarding their actual park. It's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, it takes a lot of shine off, but in terms of on the park and the players, very, very impressed in my personal opinion. And if they finish in the top 6, for me it isn't a surprise or a shock. I've watched them a lot this season and they deserve to be in and amongst it. And aye, there's usually got a goal in them, so Rangers didn't make this nervy, the Mora. I can't handle it after Sunday. And I think with that being said, we can move away officially from the Dundee perspective and obviously from the Dundee side regarding the weather. I want to talk about the Rangers side in today's video, and I feel like we'll just be pretty blunt between us because there's no point talking round it or talking up or trying to be fancy with the words. Rangers and the Rangers team going into tomorrow's game, if it does go ahead, need to do the job they should have done on Sunday, and that's when they hear the final whistle, be sitting top of the league. Full stop, underline, exclamation mark, that's it. I don't care about the park, I don't care about the weather, I don't care about this. There is no excuses for us not to be sitting tippity top of the league when it's all said and done, Demora, and that is the minimum that's required from it. A couple good goals, get the goal difference up, that would be even better, but we need to get over and done. And it's funny, right, because looking at this game and it's coming so soon for Sunday, I know there's so many mixed emotions for it. There's still so many people either on the side of, that's us lost the league because we never won at Ibrox, and then on the other side you've got people, that's us won the league because we rescued that loss at the Old Firm on Sunday. There really is, and there's even more conversation in between. For me, personally, I've made peace of what Sunday actually was. A frustrating, mind-boggling, confusing mess of a game that somehow, some way, we didn't lose, you know what I mean? We dug ourselves out the hole that we put ourselves in, and aye, we could have done this, we could have done that, but we never. We got the draw, we move on. Fate, ladies and gentlemen, that is what it's done. For people calling us bottle jobs, or the players having to go to it, no, we haven't bottled the 8-point lead. Ladies and gentlemen, we never bottled a 2-goal lead at half-time that took them 4 points clear with a handful of games left. That isn't us. We didn't bottle a 3-2 lead going into the 90th minute of the game. We are who we've been all season. We fight, we scrap, and we never give up. That's what Clement's installed into this team. We fight, we scratch, tooth and nail right to the very end, and that's what we saw, and that's how we've clawed our way back from the 8-point deficit. That's how we clawed our way back for the 2-0 down 4 points behind at half-time. We are who we are. It's no surprise to actually see it, and it doesn't matter if we've got to go to Parkhead or go here or go here. It doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, if it was all about Old Firms and Old Firm results, Celtics would be absolutely clear in terms of the lead. They'd be, what, 6 points clear right now. But they aren't, are they? No, because both teams need to navigate the weird and wonderful and unique experiences that Scottish football bring you. Like the Mora, going to Dens Park on that surface. That isn't something that comes up in your stats and statistics. And I've seen this argument, and I've seen this maybe comment directed at us by bitter pundits and all that. Rangers can't beat Celtic, so they didn't deserve to be champions. Rangers' worst performances this season has came against Celtic. That shows you Celtic's a better team. That narrative is so silly to me, I can't even put into words, because if we're going with that, who's Celtic's worst performances this season came against? Kilmarnock. Look at Kilmarnock's record versus Celtic all season long. They're undefeated against them at Rugby Park, going there to Parkhead and drawn. Does that mean because Kilmarnock's got a better results against them this season than Celtic that Kilmarnock's a better team than Celtic? No, it doesn't. It sounds stupid to say, doesn't it? So why do we allow other people, why do we allow that thoughts to come in our head when we look at Celtic and Rangers? It's the exact same. Celtic's just had the run of us so far this season, but that was a spirited draw that we got fighting back for the depth, and then we've got one more game against them. But I'm not taking all this, oh, they're a better team than us, oh, we always play bad because they're much better than us. That's just silliness, ladies and gentlemen. Is Kilmarnock better than Celtic? No. So we can't say Celtic are better than Rangers, then can we? Who will be sitting top of the league at the end of the season? That'll answer the question who the best team was. And all going our way the Mora, who will be the team sitting top of the league when it's all said and even? Us. So there's your question there. We need to both collectively as fans and the actual players move on for what Sunday was and get back to doing what we do, and that's pick up 3 points and start to continue another winning run if we want to be lifting the league title at the end of the season. And that's truthfully how I feel. Regarding the actual game tomorrow and narrowing in, there's not been any fresh injuries, thankfully, in terms of that. And maybe echoing something I said on the Sunday recap, if you watched to the end of the video, what I would like to see be played tomorrow is Dessers, Cantwell, Rabi, Seema. That's what I would love to see because it's got pace. There's genuine wingers out there. Now, I imagine it will be Fabio Silva starting on the left-hand side. He won us the penalty, CJ, but I was embarrassed about him. But given the way that the surface will actually be in terms of the flooding and everything like that, maybe it'll suit him because he'll be able to dive about like he was diving in a swimming pool on Sunday. For me, I defend these players and I back these players and I want them to be successful. Absolutely. And I want Silva to be a success. I just want him to cut that crap out, the antics, and stop being a liability to his teammates. That doesn't make me any less a Rangers fan that I'm calling out somebody for diving, in my personal opinion. No, uphold the standards of the crest you're wearing on your chest. Get up and fight and help us win a league title. No one of this stuff lying about holding the face. And he could be the difference maker tomorrow. I hope he is in the thumbnail, ladies and gentlemen. But I think in terms of performances, reward Rabi. That's tremendous what he's actually done. Or if we want to keep using him as a kill streak and winding him up and saying, look what KDB done yesterday, go ahead and do it. Fair enough, but the wee young laddies came in there and scored back-to-back fantastic goals. I'd love to see a get a start, and the rest of the team sort of picks itself, in my opinion. I know there will be a conversation point about Goldson. He's substituted off. Everyone knows where I sit now, right? The best defender, and I've said it for a very long time now, at our football club is Leon Balogun. But Leon Balogun doesn't get played. He is the best defender. Not the best player, not the best ball-playing defender. Again, we've got defenders whose best attributes are the defending, and they start every single week. That's both Suter and Goldie, in my personal opinion. Balogun's the best defender. Now, I'd love to see him getting running because I feel like better in the air, better defensively, but it's probably not going to be that way. It's probably going to be Suter and Goldson again. But aye, I'd love to see Balogun in the midst, whether it is Suter at right centre-back with Balogun, or the partnership that I've got a little bit more faith in is Goldson and Balogun, simply because I've seen that more and I've seen the success that can actually bring. But again, the way Goldson's playing the now, it's hard to make an argument for him to start, but he will start, I think, in my personal opinion. But what about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. I think there could be a case that Barisic starts tomorrow, which does make me a little bit nervous. But if there's ever a game to use the likes of Barisic and rotate and rest players that's just back for injury, Ridvan, Sterling, it should be against the likes of Dundee, and hopefully he can grab his head. I'd love a Barisic assist, Dessers goal, Silva assist, Rabi goal. That'd be great tomorrow, wouldn't it? But aye, that's all I've got to say about tomorrow's game. If it does go ahead, I will see you tomorrow night. I really hope it actually does, and hopefully we come away with it. But again, if it's not safe for the players, we know we will not be pushed around. And if they start the crap that, do you want to play behind the doors versus Airdrie? Do you want to go and do this? Just tell them to bolt, man. There's just something needs to be done there. It's going to be very interesting 24 hours for Scottish football. Let me know your opinions on what should happen. If it's still an absolute disgrace, that would be interesting. But I just think money will talk, and the game will go ahead. But until then, I've been Sieging over 92. I might see you tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves, all the best, and bye-bye.